The new channel. The new channel. Hashtag TNC Now.
The views, opinions, and insights expressed in the following shows are those of the host, producers, guests, and viewers. They do not necessarily reflect the position of the channel. Viewer discretion is advised.
Mabuhay and welcome to the new channel. Our passion transforms a community that sees all things new. This is King Gonzalez streaming live from Quezon City, and you guys are watching the 10th episode of the third season of Realty Realities. Hi there, a good Saturday afternoon to everybody. I hope you guys are indoors dahil napakainit po sa labas. But if you don't have any choice, you're still outside. Wala na pong rallies ha. So pumasok na po tayo sa ating mga bahay. But if you're still outside, playing with your kids, please keep yourself hydrated. This week has been hot, and it's not just because of the weather, but it's because of the elections. No? Kung hindi mo alam, ay malamang wala ka dito sa Pilipinas. But the elections just finished, and we have new sets of leaders already. So congratulations to those who have won, and to those who were not as fortunate as the winners. I know that deep in your hearts, you still have the heart of service. You still want to serve your people, and that you will be serving your people despite being not in the position. Just like VP Lenny. So she'll be starting the Angat Buhay NGO starting July 1 of this year, which she announced yesterday. So hope we'll see you as one of the partners, because definitely Realty Realities and my company, King Kong Realty, will be one of the Angat Buhay partners. For what? Para makatulong sa bayan. Because at the end of the day, that's what we really want, right? That's what the public servants want. That's what the politicians want. Really want, no? Really want. I know inside their hearts and in their minds that it's really the service that's why they're there. All right? And we pray that ito talaga yung maging motivation ng ating mga leaders. This is for the country and for our families as well. All right? So, yun, what do we have this afternoon? If you've been seeing the posts that we've posted on the Facebook pages of Realty Realities as well as the new channel, you'd already have an idea that we have a lot of vacancies. That was reported by CBRE in season two, and then again by Mr. Jojo Salas during the beginning of our season three. He said, or they said, that there are still vacancies in the office market caused by the departure of POGOs in the Philippines. Why? Obviously, it's because of the pandemic, di ba? Umalis. And it's not only the POGOs, but other companies that have closed shop or moved out of the country due to the pandemic, and other reasons. So what do we do with these big vacant office spaces? That's going to be interesting. Especially kung kayo, if you're a property owner, if you have a building and then you have one whole floor, 300 square meters to about 500 to about 1,000 square meters, and you don't know what to do, then you better tune in and get stuck watching us, because you will be learning different options as to what to do with those spaces. Bakit? Because we've invited somebody from, ito na, medyo papaanin ko na, from the International Workplace Group, or IWG. Kung it does not ring a bell, this probably would ring a bell. Regus. No, yung mga nakikita nyo na logos ng Regus, which is their most famous brand here in the Philippines. So she'll be talking to us about that, the different options that they will be presenting. They'll be presenting to us today. But before we introduce her, we'd like to ask everybody, if you have any questions for her or for me, just put it in the comment section down there. All right? So if you're watching us from YouTube, there's a comment section. If you're watching us from Facebook, there's also a comment section. Why? Because you'd like to know the answer, right, to your question. And you'll get yourself, the first person to ask a question will get for yourself this great product. And yes, Miss Hannah, we still found probably around 20 of these, and we'll be giving them away in the remaining 5 or 6 episodes of our show. So this is an aroma linen spray. Very good, very good. Once you enter the sala, no, you'll immediately know that you've sprayed a WJH linen spray in your sofa, because mabango. There's a distinct scent. Iba-iba yung ano, iba-iba yung scents niya. Well, we'd also like to thank Robinson's Land Corporation, RLC, especially their office division, for being our main sponsor of season 3. There's also www.spaceformybiz.com. If you have any commercial properties that you're thinking of selling, to the agents, to the brokers, please post it there, because we get about 1,000, as what reported to us, we get about 1,000 viewers every month, checking out what are the available commercial properties, both for lease and for sale. Okay, so that's it. Let's get ready as we introduce our guest for this afternoon. Now, she is the head of partnership growth of the International Workplace Group, IWG. Let's put our hands together for Miss Rowena-Bravo, Natividad.
Hey! Hi, King. Good afternoon. Hi, everyone. I'm so pleased to be
Yeah.
here.
Yes, we're so happy that you've graced our show, and that you've said yes to our invitation. Baka gusto mong pang bumati sa family mo who's watching, Miss Weng.
Yeah, hi to my two lovely kids, Frances and Tristan. So when they learned that mommy will be in a broadcast, so they've actually tuned in. Mwah.
Nice. Oh, pati sa office mates, no? If you
Yeah,
want to say
hi.
hello to them.
Yeah, so hi to our country manager Lars Wittig and the rest of the team members. Hi, Ken. Hi, everyone.
Oh, is the CEO is still around, or has he left
Now,
the country already?
yeah, so it's a 1 week
Okay.
visit by our CEO. He
Okay.
arrived Tuesday, the day after the election, and then he
Mm-hmm.
left yesterday.
Okay, okay. So we won't be able to say hello to Sir, but hello, Sir Lars. Glad that you guys are here with us at Realty Realities. So, ma'am, anong yeah, the standard question that we have for our guests, right, is paano ka naman nalinya sa real estate? Like, I know that you're a certified public accountant. You're a CPA.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
correct.
not so many CPAs. My dad also, no, but not so many CPAs go into real estate. So what's the story behind that?
Yep. So I actually started my stint as in accounting. So having graduated with bachelor's and then having passed the board. So
Mm-hmm.
definitely the first go would be sitting in an office doing accounting works, bookkeeping, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So at a very young age, I had this desire and I would say initiative to learn and to
Yeah.
try different things. So while working as an accountant, I actually started working in the academe. So I was actually teaching in college, and then
Ah,
doing
yeah.
yes, that was
Ah, yeah.
the fun part when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
And then I also had a consultancy works.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right. So right there and then I said to myself, now I really wanted to learn more um, and diversify my portfolio. So not just what my experiences are, but as well as go into different industries, learn more about the different aspects of the business. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
that's actually drove me to find new opportunities in Manila because I started working in Subic.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. And then
Yep.
when did you land in Manila?
So that was sometime in 2004.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I see. And then was that already with one of the developers? Yeah.
No.
Ganun bang ano?
So I actually worked for an automotive company, so as a dealer finance and commercial analyst. So
Mm-hmm.
doing
Mm-hmm.
a lot of business partnering. So because I was handling
Yeah.
the pricing, the audit
Yeah.
of the different dealerships that we handle. So after that, I actually had a stint with a venture capital firm. And that
Okay.
actually triggered my interest to learn more about commercial finance. With
Mm-hmm.
venture capital, as you know, we invest in different industries, primarily in high growth potential industries, but
Mm-hmm.
not really full blown companies yet. So not really
Mm-hmm.
startup, but mid stages company. So that's
Okay.
where I got exposed to more on commercials, understanding the ins and outs of the business, and also learn a
Mm-hmm.
lot about operations of the business. So that
All right.
actually triggered my interest to do commercial finance. Hence, when I found an opportunity to do commercial finance, but in a real estate industry, so that's International Workplace Group. So I grabbed
Oh,
that
okay.
opportunity, and luckily I was offered the role.
When was this? Did you move to IWG?
So yeah, that was in 2015.
Oh, all right, all right. A good 7 years with IWG. No,
Yeah,
so
almost eight
what?
years now.
Oh, yeah, yeah. What what specific role did you first get once you got in IWG, ma'am?
Yeah, so I start being the finance running in my DNA and my blood. So I
Mm-hmm.
started as
Mm-hmm.
commercial finance director. So I was actually
Oh, okay.
I was deputizing for the country manager Lars Wittig. So he used to be my
Oh,
boss at that time,
uh-huh.
and providing commercial decision support on Philippine operations, handling the from even involved in network development as well. So in the
Mm-hmm.
past,
Mm-hmm.
I would usually just run some business models, financial
Mm-hmm.
simulations for any partnerships
Mm-hmm.
that we
Mm-hmm.
are considering. Then on the
Mm-hmm.
latter part, Lars have been involving me in direct discussions with
Yeah.
potential partners. So that has somehow exposed me to this kind of partnership role. And
Yeah.
then after that, I was invited to join the global back office. as a global finance director. So it's a
Okay.
much bigger scope this time. Instead of
Uh-huh.
just providing commercial decision support on Philippines, I was tasked to provide support to 120 countries to C-level executives in countries where we have presence.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a tough job, but really very interesting. I learned a lot from it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I think it's easier for people to understand better, ma'am. Kasi ano you're already talking about the company,
Mm-hmm.
and in passing while you're describing what you're doing, parang siguro umiikot sa utak nila. So ano nga talaga yung international workplace group na yan? Can you kasi ako when I read it, 'di ba, before we met, sabi ko, okay. Sinearch ko. Sila pala yung Regus. And nag-stop. Sabi, Regus, it's an office sharing, yeah, sharing facility. So can you describe to us para lang mas madali maintindihan ng mga tao, ano ba yung international workplace group na yan?
All right. I've actually prepared a slide for you.
Mhm.
So if Dre can just flash that on screen so
Sige.
the guys can see some of the
Yeah,
brands.
yan. Easier para makita nila kung gaano kaganda.
Well,
Okay,
that's
go
one of
ahead.
our office. Yeah, Dre can just flip one to I think that's a fourth slide.
All right.
All right. So while Derek is working on that, so IWG
Next,
is
please. Oh yeah, there we go.
all right. Next on the slide where we have the International Workplace Group. I think that's on the second slide. Derek, sorry.
Uh,
Oh. Okay, one more. There. Sorry
there
to
you go.
keep you waiting. I'll make it worthwhile.
Okay, there
All
you
right.
go.
Okay. So our company is called International Workplace Group, or simply put, IWG. We
Mhm.
have been in the business for over 30 years. Now, here in the Philippines, we have been in operations for over 20 years. So, as you can imagine, back in 2000, that's when we set up our first center at the Enterprise Tower. So, that's actually during the global finance Asian crisis.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so just to put in more context to that, we're actually present in 120 countries. So, the Philippines included
Wow.
there. In terms of users, we have over 7 million users. And then in terms of number of centers or locations, we are in over 3,500 cities.
Mm-hmm.
And we're the only and the first co working or flexible workspace operator to offer partnerships by way of franchise. So we're the only one.
No. Wow.
So most of you know us as Regis. As
Mm-hmm.
King
Mm-hmm.
have mentioned, that's actually our flagship brand. Out of the 23 centers here, 20 of which is actually a Regis branding. But we also have other brands. So it's Spaces, HQ, as well as Signature. So in terms
Mm-hmm.
of market segmentation, we cater
Mm-hmm.
for different, markets. And in terms of price positioning, so we also have, a participation in each price point. Yep. So that's a very quick overview about our company.
Yeah. So well, to the viewers, I've met Miss Wang like probably 2 months ago, and we've already visited a couple of property owners because we do have property owners who are watching us right now. Hello there. Um, and the curiosity is comes from the fact that they have vacant spaces in their buildings. So how does Regus come in, ma'am? Meron pa rin kasi silang na King, ano ba 'yan? Magli-lease ba sila sa amin tapos ipapa-lease nila yung spaces? Can you further explain on that, ma'am?
Yeah. So maybe I'll just provide more context to that before I
Mhm.
discuss further now.
Okay.
With the before the advent of COVID, there's actually been a demand for flexible workspace.
Mm.
Primarily because people have struggled on long commutes. and they wanted to have that work-life balance. So, King, as you can imagine, here in the Philippines alone, the commute time, siguro one way,
Oh yeah.
additional 1 hour, di ba? So
Yeah.
before COVID, people have actually been looking for flexible working options. Now
Okay.
COVID happened. So that actually acted as a catalyst for a
Mm-hmm.
different working format, and we now call it hybrid. So
Mm-hmm.
in the past, there used to be like two dimensions in flexible workspace or working arrangement. One is working in a corporate office, and then another is working from home.
Okay.
But there is actually a growing awareness that a third dimension, which is working very near your home, is actually getting attention. So
Mm-hmm.
these three options for flexible working arrangement, we call it the hybrid working format.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the vacancies, as you mentioned earlier, no, have actually
Yeah.
primarily been driven by tenants, downsizing, moving out
Uh-huh.
of the
Uh-huh.
office, pre-terminating, surrendering out the spaces, and may factor in, of course, yung new buildings that have been, handed, turned over, or yung
Mm-hmm.
mga na-set up lang during the time of the pandemic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the primary reason to based on backed up by study why we
Mm-hmm.
have such vacancies, no, because most of the companies either they downsized or they closed their operations, scaling down,
Mm-hmm.
etc.
Mm-hmm.
And because with the pandemic happening, if you're not able to reinvent or re-engineer your business, so the next step would likely be either downsizing or just forced closure or losing your footprint in the
Mm-hmm.
industry.
Mm-hmm.
So, and one of the biggest chunk of cost would usually be the rental if you occupy a huge space, such as conventional deals, conventional leases. Now, with
Okay.
pandemic happening and downsizing of the businesses, you can't do much about it because you're stuck with a long-term lease. So if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
pre-terminate, you're
Yeah.
actually mandated or obliged, contractually
Mm-hmm.
obliged to
Mm-hmm.
settle the remaining terms of the lease, depends on your
Mm-hmm.
agreement with the
Mm-hmm.
landlord,
Mm-hmm.
or bottom line to pay the penalties.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Not aside from that, the security deposit will have to be forfeited, etc., etc. Now that has actually triggered or how do you call that? It inspired most of the companies as well as the employees to actually divert into a hybrid working format, wherein
Mm-hmm.
which
Mm-hmm.
they get different small offices in different
Mm-hmm.
locations
Uh-huh.
with a shorter period of agreement with a flexible workspace operator. So if you ask any CFO, that would be the main preference because you don't have to spend on capital investment to fit out the space. You don't have to put a lot of strength on your,
Mm-hmm.
pressure on your balance sheet because you don't have to carry the entire lease liability when you sign
Okay.
up for a
Yeah.
long-term lease. So
Yeah.
definitely the solution to that is a flexible workspace that allows you to scale down, scale up, depending on your specific needs.
And I suppose you're also cutting down on the capex because they don't have to do the renovations of the office space, right? Because
Yeah, that's
if they rent out from you, it's already a beautiful office. Tama?
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
correct. So it's plug and play. So say
Yeah.
if you inquire, walk into our center, you decide to get an office from us, and
Mm-hmm.
then immediately within a matter of like 1 or 2 hours, you get an instant office. You have
Mm-hmm.
internet
Mm-hmm.
connectivity, you have a very nice table, a very nice chair, and a
Yeah.
fantastic lounge area. You'll see that on my photos later.
Ma'am, gusto ko ng ano eh, na mas gusto kong mapakita na yung visuals eh. Is it possible for us to play the video now so that
Yep,
people would get a better idea? Okay ka? Let's play it now.
I'm good.
Yep. Direct, please. Let's show them the video of IWG. Yon. I hope people had a better idea as to what we're talking about, no, in terms of the company as well as the concept of co-working. Kasi not so many people, lalo na yung mga mas nakakatanda sa atin, are used to, sorry are used to having the office, the co-working, no? Pag sinabi co-working, ano yan? Magkatabi kami sa ano, sa opisina, magkatabi yung office namin, no? Yes, yes, in a way, because once you enter, ito, gustong-gusto ko to eh. Once you enter a Regus or any of their brands, ang sasalubong po sa inyo ay receptionist, no? Receptionist. Now, that receptionist is a common receptionist, correct?
Yeah,
Correct,
that's
Miss
correct.
Wen? Yeah.
Yep.
And then there's like it's 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 homey, no? Depending on the regions that you're going to. But yes, it's homey. So sofa, so that your guests can sit down. There's a pantry where guests can also get their coffee from. There's a conference room which is shared amongst the people who are renting in that specific Regis office. And then, yes po, pwede na kayong magpunta dun sa office spaces that you've rented out. Correct, Miss Wen?
Yeah.
Correct, no?
Yeah, that's correct. So it's more like para siyang office as a service. You know, when you
Yeah,
go to
okay.
the
Okay.
hotel, you
Mm-hmm.
get their room, you avail of their accommodations.
Mm-hmm.
But for our centers, if you go to our centers, contract with us, so you get
Mm-hmm.
an office. So
Yeah.
para siyang office as a service. It's packed in, parang all in na siya. So you
Mm-hmm.
have a shared receptionist. You don't have to rent a space for the, an entire meeting room, which you won't be utilizing for, the entire day. You may just
Mm-hmm.
use that
Mm-hmm.
for 1 hour
Mm-hmm.
or maybe 2 hours. So it's a shared meeting room as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And just a short recap of what you told us before we showed the video. What's driving this trend of co-working is or are, no, sabi mo nga, one is that people want to be closer to their homes, and having centers, it's so easier now because you can choose the different centers you have all over the Philippines, diba? And the
Yeah,
reason
that's
why we
correct.
had our meeting also the other day, here in Quezon City, I won't mention already, because you're looking for centers that are really closer to the communities. Tama?
Exactly.
So it's
King,
so
alam mo,
convenient. Oh.
what has,
Sorry, hindi ko naman na ano, hindi naman ako nag-go over ng NDA ko, no, when I mentioned about looking for no, office
we'll
near the
take that up
community, no.
separately later.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No,
Ako
that's
ako
fine.
pa na ako pa napahamak dito sa pag-interview ko sa'yo, no?
No
Hindi,
worries.
okay.
I'll actually be disclosing the cities that we're looking for expansion
Okay.
later. So you're
Yes, yes, yes.
guaranteed
We'll
very
we'll
safe,
talk about it
King.
later. Just to add, para lang people would who are looking for office spaces, they'll get a getter picture, o baka nga mag-sign up sila mamaya eh, no? Baka kunin yung contact mo tapos mag-sign up na because they're looking for offices. Kasi yung advantage that you also mentioned, that you don't have to construct anything. You don't have to renovate anything already. You are not also tied up to a long-term lease, which is usually commanded or demanded by property owners. So, what's the shortest possible lease of an office in a center, in a region center, ma'am?
1 day.
Eh, Talaga, you
Yes.
can rent for 1 day.
Yeah, we're very flexible. So we have 1 day, 1 month, etc. The longest that we had is actually 5 years. And it's a
Wow,
large
wow.
customer. But the average is like 9 to 12 months per
Uh-huh,
contract.
uh-huh. And then that 1 day, how big of an office space can somebody rent?
Well, typically it's a 5 square meter office, so more of like a
Okay.
semi-private. So it
Uh-huh.
still is covered pero wala lang siyang hindi lang siya fully covered. So meron lang
Uh-huh.
siyang glass wall. So semi-private we call it.
Okay. So that's for people who are on the go, who are
Mhm.
probably from Cebu and they want to hold meetings here in Manila, but instead of doing it in a hotel, they do it in one of your centers, right?
That's one of the instance. Most instances, however, is that the Business World Card membership. So that's actually one of the products then. So aside from
Oh,
the office, the co-working, the semi-private, etc., we also have the Business World Card membership. So if you
okay.
remember yung mga gym membership natin before the pandemic,
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
anyone who holds that card can actually have access to all of IWG locations in the Philippines, but not just in the Philippines, but also in 120 countries where we have centers. So for most of the
Ah,
freelancers, they
uh-huh.
use that very much, even for large companies. So just to mention very quickly, so last
Yeah, yeah,
year,
go ahead.
first half of last year, NTT, HSBC, Standard Chartered, as well as Nestle,
Mm-hmm.
actually bought 500,000 of memberships from us. So
Half
that
a
means
million.
any yeah. So any holder of that card can access all of our locations nationwide. So that's easy for them. They actually scaled down some of their conventional spaces and
Mm-hmm.
actually distributed this membership cards to their employees. So all of their employees globally can
Mm-hmm.
work anywhere else very near their home. So, and you may be wondering, no, kasi HSBC, Standard Chartered, these are financial institutions. And as
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
they're very strict in terms of, IT infrastructure. So because
yeah,
of our
yeah.
strong IT infrastructure, they don't
Uh-huh.
have to worry. So they rely on our, infrastructure to support their business.
Wow, wow, that's good. That's good. Ayan. So, kamusta naman you to our viewers? Are you getting the drift of co-working, especially of what IWG has to offer to you? Sana naman no in the past 30 minutes that you're getting it, no? Because after our commercial break, we will be talking to Miss Weng pa rin, and she will be talking to us about ano yung options, no? If you have vacant spaces, if you have vacant properties, if you have sitting assets na sayang lang, 'di ba? Anong pwedeng opportunities that we can do with IWG? So just hang on to your seats and we'll be right back after few reminders from our sponsor. Hi, good afternoon once again, and welcome to Realty Realities, only here at the new channel. If it's your first time here, what is the new channel? It is a channel, it's a live stream platform of online shows for people on the go. Please watch all our shows as you see on the screen. Imagine having your own show, your own playlist, your own content, but we make it easier for you. TNC aims to transform the lives of our viewers through engaging, authentic, and original content. Our vision is to become a global 24/7 live stream channel that showcases Filipino talent, global influencers, cultural intelligence, and ingenuity. Catch us, Realty Realities, every Saturdays at 4 p.m. as we talk to you about anything under the sun about real estate development and anything about real estate. Okay, and you can also catch the replays by just clicking on hashtag TNC now or just search the new channel or Realty Reality. Right? Ang galing nga eh. Ang galing kasi like the host of of the different shows, we know each other from GCs, and then we'll have our second year um, dinner coming up. No? So that's how we know each other. And one of the viewers of our show actually cross posted and commented here, and she says hello to Miss Jennifer Nuya, who is the host of one of her shows. So hello, Miss Jennifer, and hello, Miss Rich Mac. All right. So what have we been talking about? We said when we were promoting this show is that if you have vacant spaces, vacant big office spaces in your building, or one of your clients, one of your many clients as a broker has big vacancies, then you better watch the remaining part of the show. Because we have Miss Rowena-Natividad from the International Workplace Group, or IWG, or more famous for their brand, Regus. But before we bring her in, we'd like to thank Robinson's Land Corporation, their office division, for being the sponsor of our show. Right, let's bring in Miss Weng.
Hi there. So I'm
Yeah,
wearing
no,
my glass. I'm wearing my
different,
glasses na king.
different look, different look.
Yeah.
At
Napaghalatang hindi tayo millennials.
at least naiintindihan natin yung yung office sharing kasi mas nakakatanda ang hindi. But now they know. Now they know because they watched the first part of the show. All right.
Absolutely. And they'll learn more about it as we move along.
Yes, yes, exactly. Do you want to go straight to your slides, or do you want to talk to the viewers to tell them yung opportunities naman of earning with IWG? Up to you.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah, sure. Well, aside from partnership, because as you know, the expansion of IWG is mainly driven by the surge in demand for
Mm-hmm.
people to want to work the hybrid work format.
Okay.
So we'll be talking about more about the partnerships later on, but
Okay.
there are other opportunities also to earn from IWG, and that is actually helping us sell our products. So as I did mention earlier, aside from offices, which varies in terms of sizes and
Mm-hmm.
duration, we also have the memberships. We also have
Uh-huh.
the virtual offices, where in which the customer, although not having a physical office to work in, they can actually use the address of the center to register their business. So we call that the virtual office. They can also have access to our, shared reception. And
No.
there's one interesting product as well. We call that the disaster recovery.
Hmm.
So it's more of like
Uh-huh.
an insurance.
Okay.
So, ito sobrang mabenta sa amin 'to when the typhoon hit,
Uh-huh.
Cebu. Yeah, latter part of of 2021. So disaster recovery actually um, entitles you to use of the office if the need arises. So you will buy that sort of insurance from us, and then when that occasion where in which you need to invoke the right to use that property or space, you can actually reach out to us, and an instant you can work at any office locations at your preference. So this actually
Wow.
applies where in which, as you know, yung nangyari sa Cebu King, no, nagbaha, nawala
Uh-huh.
ng internet connectivity, electricity has been down, and there are a lot of workers in Cebu. So when
Mm-hmm.
that happened, they struggled. Well, maybe they
Yeah.
survived for the first 2 days,
Yeah.
but after second day, they struggled to find a good location to work. And
Do they need to buy the membership card, or 'di ba kanina kasi you mentioned about there's membership of Nestle and the other companies. Etong disaster product, ano yan, pwedeng magpunta na lang sila dun sa center and then say that, hey, I need ganito. How
No,
does
it's
it
a
work?
different product siya. So you
Okay,
have
okay,
to buy the disaster recovery plan from us. So you have to
okay.
pay
All right.
that on a term that we have agreed with you. So
Mm-hmm.
when that
Mm-hmm.
need arises where in which you need to invoke the right to use that property, so you just
Uh-huh.
reach out to us. We have like a 24 by 7 call center service, and they will reach out to the operations team, and
Mm-hmm.
presto, you'll get access to the office. So that has
Wow.
been our best selling product, no, back in quarter four of 2021. So they've reached
Wow.
out to us, asked to use the office, and some of those tenants actually decided to stay with us.
Oh, talaga? Because of that, ano na nakita nila yung facilities nyo and they stuck it out with you. Nice, that's nice.
Yep,
Oh,
very
what else?
convenient.
What other products?
Yeah, so we also have the co-working. So
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
co-working naman, if you're familiar with the Uber concept,
Mm-hmm.
so shared economy. So
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
ride in a car, but you don't own the car, but you get to
Uh-huh.
use their facility. For co-working, you actually get to work in an office shared with other workers of different companies.
Oh
So
yeah.
there are different products naman for our co-working. You can have like a dedicated working space, or maybe just sit by the lounge area, or
Yeah.
a physical office. So very flexible. That's actually the the ethos of IWG. We provide
Mm-hmm.
flexibility, and
Mm-hmm.
as you know, King, anything that's flexible is dynamic, and
Yeah. Yeah.
anything that's dynamic provide more solutions, and that's
That's
what
right.
we need, especially at this time of the pandemic. That's why
Mm-hmm.
even property owners have actually been reaching out to us, and seeking advice as to how they can best utilize their vacant spaces, and
Mm-hmm.
generate revenue from those.
Yes. 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 That's right.
Yep. So
Uh.
going back on the products now, so for any broker participants here, so they can just reach out to me, and you get commissions or brokers commissions for selling any types of our products. So I can share
Oh.
with you the brokers commissions, Kim.
Okay. Well, thank you for letting me know also of these different products, because I'm so focused on the other product that I don't know that I can bring in clients looking for office spaces to you. So,
Yep.
pag-usapan natin yan offline. Sige,
Absolutely.
ma'am. Do you wanna talk to the property owners and to the agents now with regards to their vacancies? You wanna start doing that now?
Sure, sure. We can do
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
So for the property owners watching us today, hybrid working is now generally accepted to be the primary model for the future of work,
Mm.
which is happening now. And actually, based on our research, about three times the number of Fortune 500, well, Fortune 250 companies are likely to use hybrid working model compared to those intending on to carry on in the same way as pre-pandemic. So
Okay.
as a result of this, yung businesses is actually reassessing their office space, and about 38% there's downsizing across the board, and 42% are actually looking to move to or invest in the shared offices. So what I
Okay.
would like to emphasize to property owners is that element of flexibility in the building. I
Mhm.
don't think that there will be any more buildings that will be handed over without that element of flexibility. So had they
Uh-huh.
forgotten to put in, reception, I mean, had they forgotten to put in flexible workspace, they might as well have forgotten to put in elevators,
Mm-hmm.
reception,
Mm-hmm.
parking. So I'm trying
Mm-hmm.
to emphasize that it's a must going
Okay.
forward. And they can
Okay.
sense it now because I'm sure they're receiving inquiries for small cut offices and
Yeah.
shorter term duration. In the past, it's more like longer term, big
Uh-huh.
offices, but people
Yeah.
are, doing their due diligence and does not want to commit to long term leases, invest in a huge
Mm-hmm.
capital investment.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely flexible working is the way forward.
Yeah, yeah. Wala eh, kasi ano eh, no? Because of the pandemic, it spurred some sort of caution to people, right? Um, when is this going to end? Should I invest in this business this big when COVID is still there? Or kaya tama, tama. It's good that we have flexible working options like what you have.
King, just to add, ito very important factor din talaga. With hybrid working format arrangement, the
Mhm.
employers actually have access to a wider talent pool. So
Okay.
kasi in the past, kung yung talent na gusto mo does not want to relocate to where you
Mm,
hold your headquarters, so
okay.
you would lose that candidate. Pero
Uh-huh.
with that
Uh,
option to work hybrid, you can actually have your talented employee working elsewhere outside of your headquarters. So you have
wow.
access to a wider talent pool. And
Yeah.
I heard no from some of my broker friends na even PESA companies, so are actually um, considering to um, how do you call that matanggalan na lang, I mean, ma-remove na lang yung PESA accreditation because the
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
employees are
Okay.
actually are demanding for the flexible working format. So they won't go back to the office kasi that has been the requirement of the government, di ba?
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
most of them
Uh-huh.
refuse to go back to the office. Now these
Uh-huh.
employers, instead of capitalizing again on hiring employees and training them, of course they would want to retain them.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So
Oh, kasi ang
talagang
hirap din
employees
ano
are
eh. Yeah, and ang hirap din ng work from home because um yes, there might be increased productivity because you don't have to travel. But it's also stressful to the business owner, to employees kasi andito rin yung family mo, right? So
for sure.
there are distractions at home. So meron pa ring advantageous pa rin na at least you step out of your home but not too far and go work in a Regus center, 'di ba?
Yep.
Yung flexibility of going back if there is a need for you to go back because your daughter has something or there's an emergency, 'di ba? In 10 minutes nakabalik ka na
Yeah.
because
Well,
of
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, go
Actually,
ahead.
let me just cite this. And I actually was invited by Clark Investors and Locators Association. I
Mhm.
think that was earlier. That was back in April. So I was
Mhm.
invited to speak before an audience of over 200 members, where I
Okay.
talked about the 15-minute city. So that's
Oh,
actually
yeah.
very relevant to what we have been talking
Wow.
about. 10 minutes lang, nasa bahay ka na.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah.
15-minute city is actually an urban planning concept. It is
Uh-huh.
the brainchild of the French academic Carlos Moreno. So the
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
idea is the shops, the entertainment, the workspaces, the hospital, etc., should all be accessible within 15 minutes of
Their
walk
home.
or bike.
Wow. Wow.
And that's
Okay.
very aligned to what you
Okay.
just said. And this
Okay.
is just a pie in the sky. This is actually happening
Uh-huh.
in
Uh-huh.
US and UK.
Yeah. Yeah. O sige, Miss Weng, nag-aantay na yung mga ano, meron na nag-text sa akin tinatanong kailan ba sasabihin yung ano, yung opportunities for the vacant office spaces.
All right,
Can you work on it already?
sure.
Direct, please flash the presentation.
Okay, so I pretty much have discussed this, so we can move on to the next slide, Derek.
Mhm.
All right, next slide. All right, next slide. All right. So just to mention
Yeah.
for the Philippines, we have 23 locations, over about 31,000 square meters in space.
Do
All
you
right.
want to
Next.
quickly run through these different locations, Miss Wen?
Yeah, sure. Well, the main concentration is actually within the National Capital Region. So,
Okay.
Makati City, BGC, Muntinlupa, Inalabang, Manila,
Uh-huh.
the Bay Area.
Uh,
Then we also have in Ortigas, and then in Quezon City. Now,
okay.
for the provinces, we have presence in Cebu, in
Uh-huh.
Davao, and in
Uh-huh.
Clark. So this is the photo of our Spaces Center in World Plaza in BGC. Spaces is
Wow.
actually our premium brand. So you can actually see
Mm-hmm.
the building on the left side. The right
Mm-hmm.
side is the lounge area where members can have access. So we
Okay.
use this for events, no? Customer
Mm-hmm.
events, even guests. They can use that. Next slide. So this is an example or photos of the Regus centers that we have. On the left side is Eco Tower. We have a balcony there. Very nice center. We occupy 2 floors. And then on the right side, that's the lounge area of Regus in GT Tower.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next slide. And then we have a low-end brand. We call it the HQ brand.
Okay.
But if you walk into that center, you still feel the Regus DNA. All right,
Yeah.
next slide. So here, I just want to show you other locations across the globe. Here they have a Regis Center in an airport. So what I'm just trying to say, we're not just limited to commercial spaces.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
also have presence in airport, in library, even in malls. All right, next
Okay.
slide.
All right.
All right, so this is the lounge area, of the airport. Next slide. Wow, this is a very nice location. So France, spaces in France. Next slide. All right, another spaces lounge area. Next slide. And then an HQ building. Next slide. And then an HQ lounge area or common area. So it's much simpler compared to a Regis
Mm-hmm.
and
Okay.
spaces. So pretty much for an HQ, we put this brand in the outskirts. I would say the suburbs, and
Uh-huh.
mostly catering for BPO companies. Next slide.
Do you have any HU center already here in the Philippines? Or yun yung hinahanap
Yes,
natin?
we do have one in Davao. So
Oh,
it's
okay.
in the
Okay.
Most
Good.
IT Park. Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I've discussed this earlier on. So next slide na, Direk. All right. So the development strategy. So we're actually been reaching out to local players, entrepreneurs, could be high net worth individuals or companies, then property owners. So
Mm-hmm.
the agreements that we offer are actually there are several of them, but for Philippines, I just picked three. So the main
Okay.
priority or the main growth strategy is actually by way of franchise. So by franchise, that means that the property owner will own the space. I mean the IWG space, set it
Okay.
up in accordance with IWG standards and design, and then the IWG will support the business owner with all of the IT infrastructure, the
Mm-hmm.
selling, the marketing, the business coaching. So it's more like a plug and play when you do franchise business with us. And the partner will also have access to our network globally. So that's
Oh.
franchise. All right. For management agreement, the only difference between the two is that for franchise, it's the partner or the owner who will manage and operate the business. For a management agreement, IWG, with our expertise, will be managing the center for you. So pretty much the same format, except that for franchise, you will manage it yourselves. For
Mm-hmm.
the management agreement, we will, as experts, manage it for you. And then
Mm-hmm.
find and build, this is more like a build to suit. So especially for large companies who have a requirement for a format that they want. So we also do build to suit agreements with them. All right, next slide, Direct.
Parang meron
All
ako
right,
i-offer
so
sa na,
for
na
friend,
find and build eh. Pero sige, mamaya na
yeah,
lang.
well,
Papatapusin ko lang kita, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yeah, typically, King, may mga na-receive na nga rin kaming large inquiries for build to suit. And ang
Mm-hmm.
maganda dito, we
Mm-hmm.
have in terms of presence in the country, we have huge. I mean, we have a lot of presence in the cities, major cities.
Uh-huh.
So that's
Uh-huh.
why they are picking IWG, for expansion. All right.
All
So
right.
for
All right.
franchise agreement, so the profile of the current franchises that we have are property owners, so they are conglomerate companies. But of course, we're not limiting that to property owners. So anyone who are interested to invest in IWG,
Mm-hmm.
of course, we need to share, we need to have that shared values. It's very important for us that the partner that we're dealing with, because this is a long-term agreement, they
Mm-hmm.
share our values, and they are committed to develop the particular cluster or territory that we'll agree to, in accordance with the IWG expansion plans. But of course, that has to be agreed by both parties. Now,
Mm-hmm.
we also have in other countries, we've also partnered with hotel operators, especially at this time of the pandemic. There are a lot of vacancies in the hotel, so they've actually converted some of their spaces into a hotel by way of partnership. Now, in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
we have three centers that are actually in a hotel. So one in
Oh
Ascot,
yeah.
Makati.
Wow.
Then we have
Okay.
two in Ortigas, Joy Nostalgia, and Marco Polo. So very
Wow.
convenient,
Okay.
even convenient for them. So para
Mm-hmm.
siyang hybrid hospitality, no? So it's a
Mm-hmm.
combination of hotel plus the
Mm-hmm.
flexible workspaces. And these centers actually are trading well even during the pandemic. All
Wow.
right, so the space that we're looking at is a minimum 1,000 square meters to 1,500 square meters. The largest center that we have in the Philippines is actually 3,600. So there's actually no limit to that. So mamaya I'll discuss yung mga building format that we're looking at. All
Yeah.
right. So in terms of commissions, no, later i-discuss ko na lang din siya. But for
Mm-hmm.
property owners here, if you have like a vacant space or a space vacated by a previous tenant, it can be, have must have could have been reinstated, but not a problem. It may
Mm-hmm.
be semi-fitted out or fully fitted
Mm-hmm.
out. There are some inquiries that we have been receiving wherein which, baka they may like the format that's existing in your building. We may just want to tweak it a bit to make it look like an IWG branding. So we can
Mm-hmm.
also do that. So instead of, that space just sitting up vacant, not earning or just contributing to the depreciation, so why not convert that into a flexible workspace,
Right.
with high demand for flexible workspace arrangement. All right, next
Right.
slide. So management agreement, for this one, as I've said, we will just be managing the center for you, but the mechanics I've discussed on franchise will be the same. So as an owner, you will be fitting out the center, but will support you with the design, the layout. Will also assist you on marketing the center for you. Will also provide you or recommend to you the pricing for that particular area, subject of course to your approval. So it's all plug and play. We'll provide you everything that you need to run the business and beef up the operations. Now,
Okay.
for the size, we have no limit to this kind of agreement. Um, Whatever size that you wish to have us to have it managed by IWG, so
Mm-hmm.
we can do that. In terms of the location, anywhere, for as long as there's a market in that area, and the building is fitted for the IWG customer requirements. All right,
Okay.
next slide. All right, and then find and build. Okay, so for any requirement, large inquiries that you may receive, we do build to suit for customers. So this is just typically that slide. All right, next
Wow.
slide.
Wow.
So in terms of the IWG partnership so far, we currently have three at the moment. So we signed up in 2019 with Apple One Properties, and then in 2020 with the Mosa Land, and then last year at the even during the pandemic we signed up with Velco Asia. So So what's interesting in this slide is that for Apple One and the Musaland, they actually were a partner, no, even before
Mm-hmm.
launching the franchise opportunity. So for the Musaland, they used to be a share of the profit partner. So we share on the bottom line of the business, while for Apple One, we share on the revenue. So because we're very transparent, we're listed in the London Stock Exchange. They can see the financials for these local partners. We provide full disclosure of our financials. They are able to see, the performance of the centers. So and they know that it's very profitable. So when we
Mm-hmm.
launched the franchise opportunity in 2019, these partners wanted to have a bigger share of the pie. Because instead of
Yeah.
just getting a chunk of the profit, a chunk
Uh-huh.
of the revenue, why not get everything from a franchise agreement and just give
Yeah.
a certain percentage to IWG as a franchise fee? So immediately they signed up with us. Now, as a cluster, they've actually agreed to develop a number of centers within a specific territory. For Apple
Mm-hmm.
One, it's Visayas. For the Mosaland, it's Mindanao. For Velco Asia, it's Manila. What's interesting in Velco Asia, they used to be our competitor. So we also do
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they set up their business in January 2021, zero occupancy at that time. So we offered the opportunity for them to be embedded into our infrastructure, into our systems, so that we can
Mm-hmm.
generate leads and inquiries and fill out their center. So they agreed to that. We actually
Mm-hmm.
call their center Manila Co-working. That's the organic brand, but
Mm-hmm.
it's powered by IWG. So for that site alone, we've actually, since they've signed up, they've been receiving like over 29 inquiries per month. So
Yeah.
because of our huge network, so they now have visibility. The customers can now see the Manila Co-working Center in our global websites. Okay, all right. But of course, we're not just limiting to a cluster of franchisees. There are other opportunities now. So it can be just one city or just one center. The cluster provides you more opportunity for income. Right?
Okay.
Next slide.
Yun,
Okay,
you
so this
know.
is actually the interesting part. So for the broker side, no. So these are actually the
Ilabas
cities
niyo na po
where
yung mga cellphones niyo. You want to take a picture of this live. I'm sure you would want to.
absolutely. Absolutely. So these are actually the sites that we're looking at in terms of expansion. Our
Mm-hmm.
ambition is 100 centers. We currently have just 23 centers. We have
Okay.
a commitment of 20 centers from our existing partners. So I still
Mm-hmm.
need more. So I need you guys to help me find locations in these cities. So
Yeah.
just to briefly read that for you. So for NCR, of course, Quezon City, Pasig, San Juan, Green Hills area, Mandaluyong, very good location. Ang lapit niya lang, nasa central lang siya. Malapit siya sa Ortigas, malapit siya sa San Juan, malapit lang siya sa Manila, sa Makati, sa BGC. So central location siya. Fantastic location for a center.
What
And then,
sizes are we talking about here, Miss Wang, for
well,
these sites?
minimum pwede natin siyang 800.
800.
800, 1,000, yep, up to 1,500. So the
Yeah.
reason why preferred namin yung mas malaki yung size niya, kasi you can maximize the profitability of the center. Kasi you'll invest
Mm-hmm.
na in IT infrastructure data center eh. So you have to
Yeah.
maximize the
Yeah.
investment and having more spaces for offices. So that gives you
Mm-hmm.
more earnings. All right? And then Parañaque, Pasay in the Bay Area, and then of course Muntinlupa. So
Mm.
in NCR, 20% of the workers actually are residing in Calabar zone. So why not
Mm-hmm.
bring the flexible workspaces sa Calabar zone? So that's why we have Bacoor, Dasmariñas, Imus in Cavite, of course Binyan, Calamba, Santa Rosa in Laguna, and then
Oh, okay.
Batangas
Okay.
City and Lipa in Batangas.
You know what? Let me hold you there. Yung Santa Rosa, meron akong ipe-present sa'yo, but they're still constructing it. So I hope you could still wait for the site, but it's gonna be a really, really nice site. Miss Weng.
Yeah, well
Ah?
actually Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Pero baka maunahan ka na nila,
Nagmama
eh, yung mga brokers, eh.
ano, kaya nga eh.
Nakikita ko nagjo-jot
Y-
down na sila, eh, oh.
Oo, oo nga eh. You know, guys, when I thought of inviting over Miss Wang to this show, I actually had second thoughts because obviously I'll lose business because I am a broker, so I provide sites to Miss Wang. But you know, Realty Realities is all about sharing not just the learning but also the business. So I won't take it against you if you get in touch with Miss Wang because kung ano ang ikaganda ng business natin dito sa Pilipinas, ikasasaya po ng Realty Realities at the new channel yan. Miss Wang, do you want to give
That
your contacts to them? How do they reach you?
Yeah, sure. Alright, so let's flip on the next slide. Yep, Direk, let's flip on the next slide na.
Hmm.
Okay, next slide. Just the sizes of the building that we're looking at. Okay, that's my contact number. So you can just send me an email. So I look at my mailbox 24/7. Joke lang. So religiously I look at that and then you can just send me a message. So you can
Okay.
message me on Viber. I'm also on WhatsApp, or you just can just
All
call
right.
me.
Or if
Yep.
it's if you guys are
And
more
then siguro
comfortable
flip
in
natin do
getting
sa
in
isang
touch, if you guys are more comfortable in getting in touch with King Gonzalez to reach to
of
Miss
course.
Wang, you could just contact me at 0917-803-2552 or mag-comment lang po kayo dito and I will connect the two of you. Sige, Miss Wang, go ahead.
Yeah, nabisa lang natin yung important slide for the brokers eh. Direct
Okay,
balikan lang
go.
natin yung slide prior to this, yung may malaking 10%.
Yan,
Ayan,
yan.
no? Nilakihan ko talaga yung font dyan, King. So,
Nice, nice.
that's actually the commission that you'll earn if you work with us. So it's 10%
Wow,
of the
wow,
total sales of the products. And for
wow.
the franchise management agreement, it's 10% of the total development fee. And
Okay,
development fee is actually charged per number of centers to be developed. So it's a
I
huge
see.
chunk of
I
money. So,
I
may
see.
plano na nga rin ako mag-resign eh kasi I'll just do brokerage for IWG.
Dineclare.
Fallback ko na to,
Well,
King.
okay lang, tayo lang naman yung nag-uusap eh, 'di ba? Hindi naman nila maririnig, no?
I know. Ah, may iba ba? May
Kahit ni
iba?
Lars at saka ng CEO, hindi naman nila maririnig. Pwede naman nila panoorin
Parang
ulit
kumuha ng
'to.
coffee si Lars. No, no,
Okay,
I was just kidding, no, guys. I've been with
yeah.
IWG for over 8 years, so loyal to,
Mm,
solid to.
all right, all right. Any last words to the viewers, ma'am, that you'd want to tell them?
Yeah, well, what I'd like to say is that, favorite ko si ano eh, sino nga ba to? Anyway, so in the future,
Mm-hmm.
communities will cater to every need within a quarter of an hour where we live, no? So,
Mm-hmm.
and the final piece of the jigsaw will always be provided by a flexible workspace. And
Wow.
that will offer lahat ng benefits, no, of a centralized office that's
Mm-hmm.
closer to home. So, and the
Yeah.
result, it's actually going to be a place where lives are transformed for the better, and
Mm-hmm.
one that gives us a sizable chunk of our most treasured commodity. And guess what is that, King? That's time.
Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Nice, nice.
Yep, and sabi nga, in any crisis, don't waste it eh.
Mm-hmm.
So this is actually your opportunity to invest with us eh, as
Mm-hmm.
the demand for
That's
hybrid
right.
working is now surging.
That's right. And with that, we would like to thank Miss Rowena-Bravo Natividad for gracing us in our show and telling us, no, yung different options because it's not every day that we learn about such things. And hopefully we touched your curiosity to act, not tomorrow, but now. Because opportunities, sometimes they only knock just once. All right. So I hope you got in touch. You got the contacts of Miss Weng. Because there has a lot of things to be talked about. You're probably asking how much they will earn if they convert their office space into a Regus center. You would also want to know how much do they need to spend, how much is that franchise fee, and we won't be covering it in this show. So again, your contact number, Miss Weng, can you tell them?
09, yeah, so you can reach me at 0917 872 3255. I mean, by Viber, WhatsApp, and you can just SMS or call me.
So that's 0917-872-3255. Or kung mas
That's
komportable
correct.
kayo, you can course it through me at 0917-803-2552 or course it through King Kong Realty. So again, maraming salamat with Miss Weng, and we will be hearing from you probably towards the end of the season or again in season 4. So palakpakan po natin.
Thank you. Very
So guys,
pleased to join.
all right. So that's about the time we have this Saturday afternoon. Thanks for sticking with us, and we're very sure that you learned a lot, from what we've tackled. The opportunities, the income opportunities for your sitting assets. Um, Hope we hear from you. And lastly, we'd like to thank our sponsors. That's Robinson's Land Corporation. Salamat for the trust and confidence. Also to www.spaceformybiz.com is a website where you could post your commercial listings, both for sale or for lease. And I'd also like to invite Miss Weng to visit www.spaceformybiz because what she's looking for might already be there. So again, marami pong salamat to all the viewers. God bless us all and mabuhay ang Pilipinas.